Hello, I hope this video finds you all doing well. In this video I'll show you how these stone fruit trees are doing. I planted these in the ground about 3 months ago. If you search my channel, Zone 10A Backyard Orchard, you'll find videos with detailed information on all these trees. Chill out requirements, fruit type, and how they were planted. You can also find information on how this whole section was prepped. I had to do quite a bit of work before planting these trees in my backyard. If you've seen some of my other videos, you already know that I have poor draining soil in my backyard and had to do quite a bit of work to get these trees in the ground. Okay, first group here, these are my peach trees. That's a 4-on-1 peach tree in the front. It has 4 grafts on it. Florida Prince, Desert Gold, Mid Pride, and Eva's Pride. The tree in the back, that's a Babcock white peach tree. That one there on the right. And then over here on the left, that's a Santa Barbara peach tree. Of all these trees, the first to break dormancy was the multi-graft. All 4 grafts started to leaf out before the other 2 peach trees. The multi-graft was also the first to flower. It was the Desert Gold was the first one, and then that was right around February 21st. Then about a week later, the others started to flower. The multi-graph has a few peaches starting to develop. Here's a few. There's 1, 2, 3, and that is on the, I believe that's the Desert Gold. Yes, that's the Desert Gold. The other ones don't seem to have any fruit set on them. They did flower, but I guess none of the fruit wound up setting. Oh, except for this one here. And this is the Eva's Pride. So there's just those that fruited. The multi-graph has seems to be the one that's most developed here. It was the first one to break dormancy, so it's got more leaves on it than all the other ones. These branches that you see growing downward are not the type of branches you want to keep on your tree. From all the research I've done, it's best to cut these. I left them on because I plan to leave at least one fruit so I can at least sample what it tastes like. I've never tasted these, so I'd like to leave just one so I can sample it. I'll give it a proper pruning job soon as I harvest the fruit. I've harvested fruit off the Babcock and the Santa Barbara peach trees. I harvested those fruit when they were in planters. Off this one, the Babcock, I harvested about 30 in 2018 and then about 40 in 2019. Santa Barbara peach didn't produce much in 2018, but in 2019, when it was still in the planter, it produced close to 25 peaches. As far as flavor goes, they both had good flavor. If I had to pick one, it would probably be the Santa Barbara peach. I've never had any of the other varieties that are on the multi-grafted tree. As soon as I harvest the fruit off all these trees, I'll let you know which one was my favorite. The Babcock began to flower shortly after the multi-grafted tree, right at the end of February. And it has a few peaches up there. Here's some. Doesn't look like it's gonna have a heavy crop set this year, but that's okay. It's just been recently planted, so it's probably a good thing. In Santa Barbara, it's barely starting to open the flowers, as you can see. So it's still got a few ways to go. Next group here is the spicy Nectaplum there in the front. Sauze King Nectarine in the back right. And the Snow Queen over here on the left. All these trees were planted a few months ago, back in December of 2019. The first to flower in this bunch was the spicy Nectaplum. It initially started to set about 5 Nectaplums, but I stripped off a few, and these are the only ones that are left. Here's a couple of them, and here's one more. These are the only ones left on the tree. The Sauze King started to bloom shortly after the spicy. This is a mature tree. It's estimated to be about 6 years old. I was able to get a small harvest last season when it was growing in a pot. I was only able to harvest about 4 or 5, but they were all really good size and had very good flavor. I've had this tree since 2017, and it was the first time it produced as many flowers as it has right now, so hopefully I'll get a good crop set on this one. The Snow Queen. Also is about 6 years old. I've had it since June of last year. This will be my first harvest off this tree. Had a good amount of buds and flowers, so I should get a good harvest off this one. I'll be holding off on pruning all of these until I harvest the fruit off of them. I don't want to do any heavy pruning on any of these until they go dormant next season. But then they should have been in the ground long enough to have a stronger root system, and we'll be better able to handle some of the heavy pruning Besides, I'd like to have a decent harvest off these trees. I'd like to taste that spicy Nectaplum. I've never had one, so it'd be good to be able to harvest at least one or two off of it. This last group, that's the cotton candy Aprium in the front. Right next to it on the right is a Katy Apricot or Apricot. And behind it is the Blenheim. All of these were planted just a few months ago, back in December. The Katy Apricot was the first to bloom in this bunch. It began to bloom third week in February. Doesn't have didn't set too many fruit on there, just a few. Here's a couple. Here's another one. And just a couple more here on the bottom. And then up here on top is one more hidden back here. So it doesn't look like it's going to have a big harvest, but at least I'll get to sample some. Yeah, it's the first year in the ground, so it was growing in a 15-gallon pot before this, so hopefully next year it'll be a better crop. The Blenheim, it began to fruit in the last week of February, shortly after the Katy. It has the one here that's setting one fruit. It looks like there's another one starting to set over here, and a few more along the branch actually. It's still got a few flowers on there, so hopefully it'll be a decent fruit set on this one. And last year it had a very small harvest, but the fruit off this Blenheim the flavor was really good. It's way better than any apricot I've ever had from the store. So maybe I'll get to sample a few more this year. Doesn't look like there'll be any fruit setting for the cotton candy Aprium this year, but perhaps next year. It's been on quite a bit of growth since I planted it here. It was basically just a whip when I planted it. Didn't have much for branching on it, but as you can see now, it's put on a lot of growth. So we'll have to wait for next season on this one. Well, that's it for this video. Next video will probably be on these fig trees that I planted over here. They're recently planted in this area, so I'll probably do a follow-up video on them, and as well as these cherry trees that I have growing here. They're starting to bloom, so I'll probably do a follow-up video on these two as well. Okay, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'll be posting videos on a regular basis. If you'd like to see more of the work I'm doing here in my backyard, let's go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can follow along. And until next time, stay safe, and thank you for watching.